Makes you feel very vulnerable.
New tonight, a Spokane Youth Center is trying to figure out what's next after a burglary caused tens of thousands of dollars in losses. We break down what was stolen and how the club's looking to rebuild.
Plenty of sunshine in the weekend forecast, and I'm tracking a return of the 80s plus breezy conditions for July 4th.
Plus, a push to repeal Washington's new Millionaires tax may be headed to voters this November. Why the repeal effort is moving forward and what's to come if it continues. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here for the Night Report on KREM 2 News. I'm Sydney Schofield. Tonight, the Boys and Girls Club of Spokane County is assessing damage and theft, costing them tens of thousands of dollars. KREM 2's Connor McAvoy breaks down what was stolen and how the club is looking to rebuild.
It makes you feel very vulnerable when we already have vulnerable kids.
Angelique Rusk with the Boys and Girls Club of Spokane County describes the moment she realized the organization's Northtown Club location was broken into. It happened at around 12:30 a.m. on Thursday. Russ recalls getting a notification that there had been a break-in from security. Once they contacted police and officers arrived, nobody was at the scene. When staff got to the club, they found a dead bolted door had been kicked in, their windows had been used to get inside, and 44 tablets were stolen. Russ says they're a reliable resource to help educate the kids they serve.
Those are tools that we're really excited to be able to use with the youth that access our services, and things that help them with their academics and their education, and those tablets were a big piece of that.
Right now, Russ estimates the cost to replace the tablets and repair damages to be between $20,000 and $25,000. There's no plans in the works to hold fundraisers to make up the costs, but Russ says they always are accepting donations. For now, she hopes to find out more about what happened, hoping it'll make her and the people the club serves feel safer.
It's just really unfortunate to know that somebody felt that that was okay to enter and take things that were really critical tools for very deserving kids.
Spokane Police says if anyone knows anything related to the incident, they're encouraged to call Crime Check. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
Let's talk weather now with meteorologist Michelle Boss joining us from our Outdoor Weather Center. Michelle, all eyes are on the holiday weekend. What can we expect?
And I have pretty much all good news for the weather forecast, because if you're waiting for warmer conditions out there, we've got that for sure. Temperatures returning to the 80s, plenty of sunshine. One small little thing that we're going to be concerned about is a little bit of wind, and that is going to be on Saturday, July 4th. We're looking at southwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusts to 25. On any other given day, that wouldn't be that big of a deal, but it's been very dry through June. It's going to be warm and dry over the weekend. Lots of people will be outdoors recreating, and that wind does bring up some fire weather concerns, especially with all the fireworks being launched out there. Other than that, the weekend is looking gorgeous. We don't have a lot of wind out there right now. 7 miles per hour in Spokane, calm elsewhere. We do have a fire weather watch for parts of the inland northwest for Saturday. A little bit stronger winds expected down the Okanagan Valley, over the Waterville Plateau, down towards Wenatchee. Gusts 30 to 35 miles per hour, and of course just dry out there as well. That may be upgraded to a red flag warning by this time tomorrow, but that is for Saturday. Satellite and radar showing just some very, very light sprinkles that didn't quite make it into far eastern Washington. They pretty much dried up, so we still have the cloud cover. That'll be out of here for Friday. Temperatures widespread across the inland northwest, mainly in the 60s, a few 70s still left out there. We'll start tomorrow off in the mid-50s, plenty of sunshine. On our way to 80 degrees tomorrow, and then middle 80s for Saturday and Sunday.
Michelle, thank you. A two-car crash sent 12 people, including children, to the hospital yesterday. It happened in Bonner County on Highway 95 near Elmira around 2 p.m. Bonner General Health says a 12-passenger van carrying 10 children and 2 adults on a summer camp field trip crashed with an Amazon delivery van. A witness says he rushed from his wood shop to help after hearing the crash, bringing water, trying to comfort injured kids, directing traffic, and calling 911.
We just brought rags and water over. I mean, that was all I could really do. I've never felt so helpless, actually. I was like, oh my gosh. Trying to get all the kids to calm down. They're all screaming, crying. Just letting them know that they're going to be okay, That's all I could do, really.
11 people from the camp van and the other driver were taken to the hospital. One person was airlifted to a higher level of care. Tonight, Idaho State Police say the investigation is still ongoing. The Washington Attorney General's office is now joining the investigation into the deadly implosion at a paper mill in Longview. 11 people died, several others were hurt after a chemical tank ruptured. The cause is still unknown. The AG's office says the Cowlitz County prosecutor granted them authority to investigate whether any state laws were violated that may have contributed to the disaster. The U.S. Chemical Safety and Hazard Investigation Board is also investigating tonight. A proposed initiative to repeal Washington's new tax on high-income households is one step closer to the November ballot. Supporters turned in petitions they say contain more than 500,000 signatures, well above the number needed to qualify. The law, signed by Governor Bob Ferguson, would begin in 2029 and apply to households earning more than $1 million a year, with revenue going to schools and childcare. Opponents say it's scaring millionaires out of the state and preventing businesses from moving to or expanding in Washington. Farmers are concerned as well, fearing if they have one good year, instead of using proceeds to make up for bad years, they'll be unfairly taxed.
All you're doing is replacing equipment that should have been replaced 5 years ago, and you're paying down your line of credit, hopefully, if your bank is still letting you bank with them, paying down principal on your farm debt. It's just, the economics are brutal.
The Secretary of State's office is expected to verify the signatures over the next 2 weeks. Today was a big day for two Idaho groups as signatures supporting ballot initiatives to legalize marijuana and another to relax abortion restrictions were turned into the Capitol. Idahoans United for Women and Families organized the gathering where speakers made remarks before helping turn in those signatures. They say the Reproductive Freedom and Privacy Act would restore what Idahoans had for 50 years, the ability for patients and doctors to make private reproductive health decisions without the threat of criminal charges. Outside the Capitol, members of the White Rose Resistance, a pro-life nonprofit, rallied against the initiative. They say supporters are misleading voters, arguing Idaho's Defense of Life Act, passed in 2022, already allows doctors to provide life-saving care in medical emergencies. Now, state officials will now review the nearly 110,000 signatures to determine if the measure qualifies for the November ballot. Supporters of the Medical Cannabis Initiative say they now have submitted their petition signatures as well. The group, the Natural Medical Alliance of Idaho, says more than 150,000 signatures were collected during the campaign. President Donald Trump approved a major disaster declaration for 6 counties in North Idaho. The declaration covers Benoit, Bonner, Clearwater, Kootenai, Latah, and Nez Perce counties after an atmospheric river brought damaging winds, flooding, and landslides in March. Officials estimate the storm caused $6 million in damage. The approval allows governments and eligible nonprofits to apply for federal public assistance money to help repair infrastructure and support recovery efforts. Idaho leaders say the aid will be critical as communities continue rebuilding from widespread storm damage. A former Olympic canoeist has been indicted by a grand jury in Washington, D.C. after he reached into the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. David Hearn was arrested last month by park police after he touched a flap of blue material that had partially detached in the pool. He's now charged with 1 count of destruction of property and faces a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison if convicted. The indictment said the grand jury found that he, quote, maliciously did injure, break, and destroy the lining material of the pool. Now, Hearn, a 3-time Olympian, said he didn't vandalize the pool and was simply curious. Hearn's attorney, in a statement, said his client is innocent and called the charges outrageous. A 44-year-old man has been found alive in Venezuela amid a miraculous rescue 8 days after a pair of earthquakes caused devastating damage, killing more than 2,500 people and injuring thousands more. Rescuers say Hernan Alberto Gil Flores is in good condition tonight. They say he's been taken to a medical facility. The man was freed after a roughly 70-hour effort to get him out from under 29 feet of wreckage from a collapsed shopping mall parking lot. Crews could see his fingers through a small gap in the debris, getting fluids to him using a hose and a syringe. Experts say the survival rate for earthquake victims diminishes rapidly after 3 days. Stay with us. A lot more to get to here on the Night Report tonight. A 19-year-old is fighting for his life. Tonight, his family is calling for answers after a police shooting. What we know ahead.